Okay, what if I told you that some of the most horrifying punishment methods in history were real? From medieval torture device to techniques still reported today, these are 33 of the most brutal punishments ever documented. Let's begin. Skin crushing. Skin crushing, also known as shiri, was used by steppe tribes in Mongolia and Kyrgyzstan. The method involved stretching raw camel skin over the victim's shaved head. The victim was then tied up and left in the sun. As the skin dried, it tightened around the skull, causing intense pressure, bone fractures, and difficulty breathing. It often led to a slow death by suffocation or shock. Survivors suffered memory loss, and the process also forced her to grow inward. The scavenger dollar. This was a punishment device from the time of King Henry VIII and was kept in the Tower of London. It was an iron frame shaped like the letter A. The victim's head was tied to the top, hands to the middle, and legs to the bottom. The frame could then be folded inward, crushing the body into a crouched position. The extreme pressure caused the blood to burst from the nose and ears, and sometimes under the skin, leading to severe pain, possible suffocation, or permanent injury. The Swedish drink. This method was used in Central Europe, especially in Germany and Bohemia, during the 30 Years' War. Victims were forced to drink large amounts of full liquids, such as wig water. Victims were forced to drink a large amounts of full liquids, such as sewage water, urine, or manure. This caused vomiting, severe pain, and humiliation. The name comes from German civilians who suffered under Swedish troops. It was used to force people to give money, food, or livestock. The tiger bench. This method has been used in China since the 1990s until today, especially in political detention centers and labor camps. Victims are forced to sit with their legs stretched straight, with their knees pressed against a hard edge and tightly tied. Bricks or weight are then placed under their feet, causing overextensions of the joints. This leads to intense pain and often results in broken knees or feet. It has been used against political opponents, including Falun Gong practitioners. The Judas Cradle. This device was used during the Spanish Inquisition. It consisted of a pyramid-shaped seat with a sharp tape. Victims were placed on it, so their body weight pressed them down, causing slow and painful penetration of the lower body. Tortures sometimes added weights to increase pressure. Oil or grease was sometimes used to make the body slide more. It caused muscle tearing, organ damage, blood vessel injury, internal bleeding, infections, and long-term suffering. Standing cells. These were punishment rooms used in Nazi concentration camps like Auschwitz and Dachau, and earlier in Prussian prisons. They were extremely small, often no more than 2 feet, about 16 centimeters wide, forcing prisoners to stand for days without rest. Lack of movements caused swelling, muscle breakdown, extreme exhaustion, hallucinations, and mental collapse. The pair of anguish, a medieval metal device used especially in France and Germany against people accused of blasphemy or witchcraft. It could be inserted into the mouth, throat, anus, or female genitals, then expanded with a screw. This tore tissue caused heavy bleeding, infections, and permanent damage. The lead sprinkler, a rare medieval torture device, shaped like a metal rod with a bulb at the end. The bulb could be opened and filled with molten lead, boiling oil, water, tar, or pitch. It was then closed and shaken, so the hot liquid dripped through holes onto the restaurant victim. This caused the random burns all over the body, and the slow, undetectable drops added psychological torture. It was mainly used between the 15 and 17 countries in Spain and Italy and Germany during inquisitions. The rack, a medieval device used to stretch the body. It looked like a large bed, with rolls at both ends. The victim's wrists and ankles were tied with ropes, and as the rollers turned, the body was pulled in opposite directions. This caused dislocated joints, torn ligaments and muscles, permanent injury, or death from shock. It was used to force confessions. The alligator shears, a late medieval European device used mainly on people accused of trying to kill a king. It was an iron clamp with jaws lined with sharp spikes. After heating it until red hot, it was applied to sensitive parts of the victim's body, tearing flesh and causing severe bleeding. the heretic's frock, used during the Spanish Inquisition. It was a metal rod with sharp spikes on both ends, tied around the victim's neck, so one end pressed under the chin and the other on the chest. This prevented speaking or lowering the head. Any movement caused the spikes to dig into the flesh, leading to extreme pain. Rectal feeding, a forced method used in medieval European and in Guantanamo Bay, where food or liquid is inserted into the victim's rectum. It causes severe pain, risk of infection, internal damage, and humiliation. It was used to break hunger strikers. The Tucker telephone, a punishment device used in 1915 and 1916 at Tucker Prison Farm in Arkansas. It was a hand-cranked telephone connected to electrodes attached to the victim's genitals or toes. Turning the handle delivered strong electric shocks designed to cause extreme pain without killing. Castor oil burden. In fascist Italy under Benito Mussolini, political opponents were forced to drink a large amounts of castor oil in public. This caused severe diarrhea, pain, dehydration, and humiliation. It was also used in colonies as punishment for worse to pretending to be sick. The Spanish boot, a medieval device used across Europe. The leg and foot were enclosed in iron or wood, and wedges were hammered between the casing and the flesh, crushing bones and muscles. A related version, the leg crusher, used spiked metal blades to break the tibia and fibula. The garrote, used in Spain and Portugal, often for strangulation, it consisted of a metal collar or wire tightening around the neck to choke the victim or sometimes break the spine. Chinese water torture. Despite the name, it was first documented in Italy in the late 15th century. The victim was tied down while cold water dripped slowly onto the sliver face. The irregular drops caused anxiety, fear, and mental breakdown over time, leading to possible long-term psychological damage. The Spanish tickler, a medieval iron tool shaped like a claw, used to tear flesh from areas like the face, chest, or limbs. It was sometimes heated until red hot to burn the skin while tearing it. Victims were often stretched or suspended. Many died later from severe infection. The Spanish horse, used from the 14th to 18th centuries in Spain and England. Victims were forced to sit on a triangular wooden structure with a sharp top with weights tied to their legs. A pressure caused extreme pain and eventually tore flesh, often leaving permanent injury or death. Bamboo torture. Victims were tied over growing bamboo shoots. Some types of bamboo grow very fast, up to several centimeters per hour, and will pierce the body over time, so historical evidence is limited. Reports claim it was used in parts of Asia. The iron chair, a medieval device covered in spikes designed to pierce the flesh without immediately killing. The victim was tightly strapped in, causing more wounds over time. A hole under the seat allowed the hot coals to burn the victim from below. It was used to force confessions. The Dungeon of Forgotten, a medieval prison cell used in castle in France, dark pit with a hidden entrance at the top. Prisoners were thrown inside and left without escape. It was often too small to stand, filled with dirt, rats, and remains of previous victims. Some had spiked the floor or were flooded with water. The breast raper, an iron device to tear the breast tissue of women accused of adultery, witchcraft, or abortion. It was reportedly used in 16th century in France and Germany. Punishment shoes. Iron shoes with sharp spikes in the heel area, used in 15th century Germany. Victims were forced to stand on their toes to avoid being pierced, but exhaustion caused them to fall back, driving spikes into their heels. White torture, a modern form of extreme sensory deprivation, where everything around the prisoner, cell, clothes, foods, guards, is completely white. Lights remain on constantly, no words are spoken, and no colors are seen. Documented in Iran in 2004, it causes severe psychological damage, including memory loss and trauma. Waterboarding. The victim lies on an inclined surface with the feet raised while water is poured over the nose and mouth. This fills the sinuses and triggers a shocking reflex, making breathing impossible without inhaling water. Cloth is often placed over the face to trap water. The process is repeated after short breaks. It causes intense physical pain and terror and has been used for centuries. the ankle crusher. The ankle crusher jiujin, a Chinese punishment device made of 3 wooden boards tied with ropes around the feet. The ropes were tightened and struck with a hammer, causing intense pain and often breaking the ankles. It was used to force confessions. Manuela, the method from the Inquisition, where a rope was tightly wrapped around the victim's arm. Pressure was applied by pulling or using a lever, cutting through skin and muscle down to the bone. It was repeated on different parts of the arm, often causing victims to faint from pain. Tar-cap hot tar was poured into a cone-shaped paper cap placed on the victim's head. When the tar cooled, the cap was violently removed, tearing off scalp tissue and leaving permanent scars. Infection was common. This method dates back to ancient times, but was used notably during the Irish Rebellion of 1728. The spinning cage, a military punishment used in the 17th and 18th centuries in England and its colonies. It was a cylindrical cage hung on an axis. The victim was placed inside and spun violently, causing nausea, confusion, and mental distress. Ear cutting, the partial or full removal of a slave's ear as punishment for escape attempts or disobedience. It was meant to permanently mark the person and prevent further resistance. Commonly used in plantations in the Americas South. The knee breaker, a device used during the Inquisition to destroy the victim's knee. It consisted of 2 spiked wooden blocks placed above and below the knee, tightened with screws as pressure increased. The knee was crushed. It could also be used on other body parts. That was just a glimpse of some of the most horrific methods humans used against each other throughout history. Which method shocked you the most from this list? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Yahya, and we'll see you in the next dark chapter.